Good evening, coffee lovers in Chiefs Kingdom. It's your host, John, back with another episode of Chiefs Coffee Corner. This week we review coffee from Baltimore, Maryland, go into the game against the Ravens, a good Chiefs win. Look forward to this Monday night matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars, all on this Friday night episode of Chiefs Coffee Corner. So grab a cup. And cozy up. It's time to talk about some football and some coffee. I'm proud to share this coffee and this kind of my thoughts on it from the Gracefully Coffee Roasters out of Baltimore, Maryland, a company that's been in existence since 2016. And it's a naturally processed Ethiopian yirgacheffe. It's a very common region that coffee comes from in a lot of specialty roasters. Ethiopia is one of the larger coffee producing nations in the world. And a lot of really good coffees come out of it. If you've read my stuff in the past, talked to me about any coffee ever, I am a big proponent of African coffees as opposed to any other continent in the world. And I got everything that I really thought that I would out of this. The descriptions was peach syrup, pineapple, and blueberry, and the peach does kind of come through if you've had store-bought peaches that are in that kind of syrup. You get that mouthful feel. I get the mouthfeel more than I do those essences of peach or pineapple. Blueberry does come through a little stronger on that. It is thick on the back end, but everything seems to be really muted in this one. There's nothing that's coming out and punching you in the face or is really bright or vibrant. This is an easy drinking coffee, and I have been drinking it all week. But there's also nothing that's really jumping out that's, screaming, this is a special coffee. And that's for a lot of people, that's what they want. This is what I would call a good Sunday morning church coffee, that you would expect. It's a pleasing, approachable, unassuming brew, and those are good for the masses. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I wouldn't pass it up by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that it's a bad coffee in any way, shape, or form, but it's not the favorite of the season. But I do suggest that you check them out. I think their story's pretty good out there. I won't share it on this channel, but I do encourage you to check out them. There's a reason that I chose them. They also sent me a little 4-ounce bag of Honduras that I'm excited to grind and brew tomorrow morning, and might share my thoughts with you guys next week on what I thought of that one. To the game, I was wrong. And I think a lot of people would have been in the same boat as I. Not that there weren't people out there choosing the Chiefs or picking the Chiefs to win, but I don't think any of us saw how the Chiefs won and how seemingly the addition of Xavier Worthy changed the offense for the better. One of the questions that's been asked in Kansas City Sports Radio this week was, what percentage would you say lies with how the Chiefs played that game, and what percentage was how Baltimore played? And those of you who may not have watched the game or hear more for the coffee than the Chiefs talk, the Chiefs won handily 37-20 against the Baltimore Ravens. They came in as a home underdog for the second time this season, and only a handful of times in the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era that the Chiefs were a home underdog. And outside of the first offensive drive that Baltimore had, that Kansas City dominated to the finish on that. the offense seemingly moved the ball at will. I think they scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions or 7 of their first 8, minus a Harrison Butker miss right before half. They looked like the Chiefs of old. And if you heard my talk about the offense progressively as the season has gone along, you have heard my frustrations and my concerns about the offense. After one performance, no matter how dominant it was, I think there's a lot of room for growth, and I'm excited about the upcoming addition of Rashee Rice into this offense. I think we're seeing signs that the Isaiah Pacheco era in Kansas City is winding down, and we're starting to get into the Brashad Smith era of Kansas City running backs. If you don't know anything about Brashad Smith, he was our 7th round pick. The Chiefs actually moved up, I think it was roughly 20 spots to draft Brashad Smith and introduce him, or to draft him in the 7th round. He's only had 1 year of running back experience at Southern Methodist University. Before that, he was a wide receiver that transferred from the University of Miami in Florida. And track star speed, good route running, has good hands, but does have good vision, is what I've heard, and has shown the ability to stand up and pass block well. He's new to the position. He's raw. I think from the things that I've heard from training camp and from the film that was out there, he is a work in progress, but could be somewhat of a steal from that position. Defensively, a solid performance against the team that I believe had the highest scoring offense coming into this game. They really took the Ravens out of their game plan, is kind of what I've seen. I don't know what it is about the Chiefs that causes John Harbaugh to really overthink things. I think there was 8 attempts from Derrick Henry, and most of them seemed to be on that first drive. Lamar Jackson was contained. A guy who's only thrown 4 picks over the last 22 regular season games, threw one in the first quarter that really changed the dynamics of this football game. On the pass to Mark Andrews, he was so well covered by Leo Chenal that it wasn't even funny. Still a great athletic play by Leo, and it was good to see that play. It was good to see the defensive line seem to get some sort of a pass rush. The secondary played well. It was good in all 3 levels on the defense. They gave up a big run there at the end, but there were a lot of second stringers in at that point in time. And that's a good offense still. To hold them to 20 points over the course of the game was a real win, and helped out in everything that was going on. Are the Chiefs fixed? I'm not going to say that they're fully fixed. This was a huge step in the right direction. If we see some positive momentum taken from this game into the Jacksonville game, I will be happy to see it. I think weather might play a factor into this. There's a hurricane out on the Eastern Shore that's moving in and could affect the weather. So if you are people of the Christian religion and people of prayer, please pray for safety of everybody that could be affected by that. Not only the football teams, but I would like to see a clean game come Monday night, and that I would hope would result in the Chiefs' victory. And speaking of that, I think the Chiefs are the better team in this. They have the better quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is really run game this year. The wide receivers seem to have a drop problem similar to the 2023 Chiefs, where it just seemed to steamroll in that, and once you lose confidence at that position, it becomes a lot more difficult to do your job. They are an opportunistic defense, very opportunistic. 13 turnovers through 4 weeks. I am very confident that if the Chiefs take care of the ball and can control the run game, not only from the defensive side and limiting Travis Etienne, who's been the lead back, but also establishing some run game of their own between any of the three backs, in addition to the jet sweep and the shovel pass game with Xavier Worthy or Tyquan Thornton or Hollywood Brown, any of the combinations out there, and can just keep it balanced. And can kind of control that line of scrimmage, I think is going to be extremely beneficial. And I think that the Chiefs can do that. I'm expecting a Chiefs victory somewhere in the neighborhood of 21-13. It would not surprise me if this was last week was the turning point, and that the Chiefs are in that 27 to 30 point range again. I think the defense is gaining confidence and becoming stronger. It was good to see Isaiah Pacheco seem to gain some confidence as the game goes on. I still don't think he's right in a lot of ways, but I'm excited about this week and the possibility of what happens next week against Detroit. But like I said, let me lock it in. 24-13 Kansas City this week over Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. And I hope that you guys can enjoy your Sunday free of Chiefs football. Get prepared for Monday. Have a good cup of coffee this weekend. Enjoy your time with family, friends, and just have fun and go Chiefs as always. This is John with Chiefs Coffee Corner. Have a great weekend, guys. Go Chiefs.